What's up, guys? I'm back. Been gone for a little while, and it has been pretty wild time, I guess you could say. Getting some stuff figured out with my leg and or my hip, and been, I guess, 2 months plus, something like that, since I made a video. But everything's looking good so far, and so I wanted to start posting videos. Going to try to do one hopefully once a week. Fixing to change up a lot of my style on how I do things, and hopefully y'all will be along for the ride, and we'll gain a bunch of more followers and do stuff a little different around here. But today I wanted to go over my top 10 indie authors books. So top 10 books, top 10 indie books, and what I've read so far. I have several on my shelf that I've not read, but I wanted to do my 10 favorites that I've read several. But, anyways, this is like there's fantasy, horror, epic fantasy, a few other things. Some of these are, a couple of these I think are standalones. I got at least one prequel. I've got a few series, just on everything that I've read so far, and looking forward to it. I hope y'all enjoy this. So let's get started. At number 10, this was the book that got me back into, or not even back in, just into reading in general. I've talked about this book a few times, and it has been basically what set me on the course to reading again. Didn't read ever. I mean, from the time I got out of school all the way up to the past, well, I guess year and a half ago, nearly 2 years, is when I started back for the first time. But I was, me and my wife, or mainly my wife, homeschools our kids, and so we go to a convention every year, and they always have a bunch of different books there from authors and all that. And this was probably, at least I've had this on my shelf at least a year, if not 2 years, before I even picked it up. And in January of 24, I was like, man, I'm tired of gaming. That's always what I did. I still play games some now, but not near as much as I used to. Tired of it. Want to do something different. And so for some reason, went upstairs, and looked and found this is Vincent in Wonderland by C.E. White. This is a prequel book to The World's Next Door. I have not read it yet, but this is what got it's a YA fantasy. And it's basically about Vincent van Gogh when he was young, like a kid, and comes along and meets Alice in Wonderland before Wonderland. They kind of meet up on another world and go through trials and stuff, and it was really good. I highly suggest it, especially for your younger readers. I think they would really like it. I thoroughly enjoyed, like, especially just for my first time reading. But if you've got young kids that really enjoy reading, or a lot of kids love Alice in Wonderland, of course, but it's a really cool spin on adding Vincent Van Gogh, and both of them as young kids. But that's number 10. Number 9 would be The Sorrow of the Wise Man by Bella Dunn. Now, this is a fantasy series. I think her second book on this, I don't know if it's out yet or not. Maybe it is. I'm not really for sure. But I read this a few months ago, and it's great. If you like political intrigue, with a dose of backstabbing, manipulating, just anything you can think of for someone to betray someone else, this is your book. This is basically, um, it's fantasy, so obviously it's another world where a queen is getting older. They have magical powers, a little, and her two daughters. One of them is like straight and narrow, on the right path, does just everything right. And the other sister is, well, let's just say, not the best person that you could imagine, and does everything in her power to get rid of her older sister that's pretty much better at her and everything. But I'm telling you, it's got everything in it. If you anything to do with just trying to figure out, like, oh, why would somebody do this to somebody else, or why, especially when it's like, why would, but your sister do it to you? It gets crazy at the end. But I would highly suggest checking this one out, The Sorrow of the Wise Man. Number 8 is The Whisper That Replaced God by Timothy Wolf. Fantasy is a series. I guess it's going to be a series of novellas. Not really sure, but I know there is a second one out, and I read half of it, and it's really good. But the first one that I read, it's funny. Uh, what is it? Unreliable narrator. Lord Mute is just that's the name of the main character. He is just fantastic. Thinks the world basically revolves around him, and thinks the woman of his dreams just absolutely loves him, and she doesn't. But it's so good and funny that, like, even like all the stuff that like Tim writes in the book, about just these things like on modern day stuff, on how he changes the names of them, and you will easily catch them when you're reading the book, and you're like, oh, that's definitely talking about like Amazon, and stuff like that. And it's kind of like besides being an unreliable narrator, he's like talking to you. So like when you're reading the book, he asks you questions, which I think is just the best. Like it's so good. I think you would absolutely love it. Like I said, 2 books are out. They're both novellas, not long at all, like maybe 100 pages ish, somewhere in there. But you would absolutely love it, and it's funny, so that's the best. At number 7, we have a chunky boy, and that is The Hunter by Kay. It's either Agard or Agar, not really sure. So I'm sorry if I mispronounce your last name. But this is, by what I understand, I think I'd heard her mention before. She is wanting to make this like a 10-book series, potentially, if I'm right. I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that. But this is the best or second best animal companion book I've ever read. It is so good. Strider, who is not really the main, I guess the second main character in it, he's just downright just not happy about anything, doesn't enjoy much of life really anymore, I guess. Not really having a good time with anything. And then you've got your animal companion right there, um, Greer. I was trying to remember the name of the I guess it'd be a dire wolf, but he is fantastic, and Kay does just a great job of making Greer like have actual emotions, but in how, um, Greer does, like how it's done is it's like with subtle head turns or nods or like pouting by the wolf. It's just so good. And then like they somehow manage to get a task to where they have to take this girl back to her father, who's like a king, and there's stuff that happens along the way. It's so good. The opening scenes and stuff in this book are fantastic. Like how they end up getting together, like all 3 of them, is just so good. Would very much recommend you checking this out. It is excellent. And like I said, if you love animal companions, this right here is top tier without question. Next up is The Veil, which is number 6 on the list. The Veil is by E.H. Bradley, fantasy. Got a little horror involved in it, I would say, and I think he's making it a series. Not really sure if it's going to be like a trilogy or not, but I think that I'm right on that. But it's one of the best books I've read this year so far, for sure. It's basically like, so if you have these group of people, well, it ain't just a group. It's all right. So like you've got the world today, that it's run by the media, and all these things get said in the media that constantly throwing up. There's problems in the world. Like if you ever watch the news nowadays, it's like 90 to 95% just terrible stuff that goes on, and then it's like the last 5 minutes is one story of like, oh, so and so saved a kidney, congratulations, have a good night, and then they go on. But 95% of the news is just all these, killings and protests and riots and all this crazy stuff that happens, and it's just so bad. I mean, negative at all times. But anyway, so this book is basically like when if you fall or something and you hit your head really hard, you kind of get the veil pulled back, and you start seeing things, and it is pretty wild. Like the first, I think it's the first scene that you actually see what's behind the veil with people is just, it's pretty crazy. But these four teens, they end up going to school. This is like at the very beginning of the book. They end up going to school on a snow day. There's not many people there, and somehow the snowstorm blows in and blows like this piece of glass through a window, or glass is a window, but busts the window, and one of them or two of them get like hit in the head and ends up killing like two other classmates. And they end up waking up in the hospital, and things get crazy from there. Turns out two others of their friends, which are like each one of them's girlfriends. It's two best buds, and then their two girlfriends, and they end up also getting powers, and crazy stuff happens from there. I mean, this story is wild, and EH just absolutely killed it. Loved all the characters that each are like their own. I mean, does such a good job on separating on what should be or who should be in what. I mean, just so good. Would highly suggest reading that. But The Veil is awesome. At number 5, we have got The Clatterman by Janelle Sheikey, which is a horror urban legend book. And I think it's going to be a series as well. I'm pretty sure I've heard her talk about her writing book 2 now. But this thing is a page turner. It is basically like, I'm trying to think of what horror movies you say. Anything with like an urban legend, or you could even think, because of the hook and stuff, it's even kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer type deal. But you can end up, there's certain ways that you summon the Clatterman, and when you do, you are dead. But so good. It's not that long neither. Heck, it ain't even 150 pages. No, it's 200 pages. Yeah, 200 pages. Well worth the read. Super, especially, I mean, we're at horror season time, spooky season, as everyone likes to call it. Definitely, if you have not read this, pick it up. It is so good. Gave me chills multiple times. You will not be disappointed. If you like horror, go read this. And urban legend, go read this. Next up, we're going to go with number 4 on the list, and this is I guess you would call it epic fantasy, because this is book 1, which is kind of a novella, but we're talking The Fall by Ryan Cahill. He is on to, let's see, I've got all of his books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 3 novellas. That's correct. 3 novellas right now, and 4 chunky books, especially the last 2, War and Ruin and of Empires and Dust. This right here is the most fast-paced, it's novella I've ever read. Like it literally is, I think it's like 86 pages or something like that. And it is 0 to 100 in the first like 2 sentences and never lets up the whole time. There's constant action. It's just a whole, the whole book is a battle scene that basically starts off the whole shebang pretty much of this whole series. Definitely, if you have not read this, go give it a shot. Which I know technically now Ryan's not an indie author. The Broken Binding picked him up. But at the time, these first 7 books that he's got out, they're all indie books. So I know they're about to, if they haven't already, release all these other books into traditional publishing from the Broken Binding, and it's gonna. I mean, they're also he's gonna blow up even bigger than he has. I mean, he's huge now. But this right here, if you like Dragon Rider fantasy, which is what this is, um, fast paced, especially book one. The other two kind of slow down, but it's way forward in time. The first 2 main books, but you cannot go wrong with this right here. Without question, 5-star read. If you like action, as I said, Dragon Rider, you will not be disappointed. Give this a shot. You will love it. Characters are great too. Now we are into the top 3. These are without question my 3 favorite indie author books. But one caveat on this one. The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. Technically, I don't think she is indie author anymore. I think she's traditionally published now. But this book is what put her on the map. This thing is a chunky boy as well. Wow. It literally has everything in it. The main battle is halfway through this book. I'm talking like 50% through, and you've done went through everything. You have just the craziest battle scenes. Well, no, you don't. You have one crazy, crazy battle scene. Like I said, the first half of the book, and you've got this mother and this son who is trying to find their way. Obviously, the whole family. It's this big, like the mother, this former assassin, but no one knows it, and her husband is like, I guess he would be he basically is over the town. So, however, I can't remember what they call it, but over the town where they're at, protects it, him and his brother, and they have this special ability that can pretty much summon this crazy sword and can do a lot of crazy stuff. And then they're waiting on their son pretty much to be able to get to their level to protect the town as well. Things happen, and then the whole second half of the book is just dealing with grief, some not really betrayal, but how if you can't communicate with people, then things can just spin out of control. And this book will make you cheer. It will make you cry. It will make you get. I'm so frustrated so many times with some of the characters. I'm like, why will you not do something about what's going on? It's something else. Like emotional wise, this book is all over the map. Like it will send you everywhere. And this is something else. Obviously, it's fantasy and it's a standalone. And I'm gonna be honest with you. By the time you're done with this book, this sucker shouldn't be a standalone. Like I think she should write another book. I know the plan is not for to, but I definitely would. Number 2. Oh boy, we got a good one here. That is Sledge vs. the Labyrinth by Nick Horton. This is, I guess you'd say horror, maybe thriller, definitely 80s movie in a book, and it's going to be a series. I know he's writing book 2 now. Not sure when it's going to release, but this thing is incredible. If you enjoy, as I said, 80s movies, then there's no way you're not going to like this. I'm talking, it is incredible. It is bombastic. It is right on the seat of your pants. You know, you're going on a roller coaster and you start at the dang tip top about to go on this 300-foot plummet drop to the bottom and pray to God you don't die. I mean, it has literal everything an 80s action movie would have, and all gas, no brakes is all I can say. You think this man dies multiple times, and he's a literal tank. You cannot kill Sledge. Nick did the most amazing job writing this character on the best anti hero I've ever read in a book without question. Um, I just don't know what all to say. I mean, you could think of ways to get killed. Like, okay, how would you kill an 80s action star? You would think, in all the movies, the villain thinks they have one, and it never works out. I mean, this is what this book is. It is so dang good. If there's one book that I would suggest, like just on a binge read, it's this one. Like, there's nothing. This sucker is lightning quick pace with action the whole time. And if there ain't action, it's basically talking about what's going to happen next with more action in it. So, with this number two second best book I've ever read by an indie author so far, without question. And finally, number one on the list of my favorite indie books, of my top 10 favorite indie books that I've ever read, Dark Bloom by Molly McCobb. Horror novel, and if you're freaked out over, I don't know, zombie kids that laugh, you're probably not going to like this book. But if you do enjoy crazy stuff like that, this is the one for you because it's incredible. This is the only book that I've ever read that I had nightmares for 2 days. 2 nights sleep, woke up, dang near in a cold sweat. I mean, it's something else. I read it. I am a very slow reader, which most people know that. Not fast. If I can read 50 pages in a day, and I cannot do that every day, but if I can, it's a great day. This sucker is like 284 pages, and I read it in 2 sittings. Could not stop. The absolute just has everything in it. Like, you root for the two main characters. Kate is like, Kate's the main character, and the things that she goes through that has nothing to do with basically the apocalypse is just heart wrenching, just terrible, terrible things that actually happen to people in real life. I mean, it's super, super sad, and it will give you a tearjerker as well. I mean, I might have teared up once or twice reading this book, and then you had nothing to do with zombies. It's just, I mean, the horrible things that happen to Kate, the main character in this book, it is just wild. But perfect, perfect book for horror season, of course, which is now. But this right here book, you will absolutely love it. But there is some essay content in it, so if you're got some trigger warnings and stuff like that, be careful with it. But my gosh, it's hard to read, but it is so, and not hard to read like reading style or nothing. Just hard to read for the things that happen. But it's incredible. I mean, this is without question the best indie fantasy book I've ever read. I've talked to Molly a few times on the channel. I've talked to a few of these authors a few times. They're all great. Know a few of them very well. Do yourself a favor, especially Dark Bloom, number one. Go pick this up, and you will have an unbelievable time with it. I mean, like I said, all these are great. Go check them out. Support your indie authors. They work really, really hard and deserve way more credit than they get for anything they do. But anyways, that's my top 10 indie books that I've read. If you tell me yours, if you've got one or two that you think are your favorite, if you like any of these, let me know. I know a couple of them now are not indie anymore, but hey, that's where they started and wrote some of the best books to exist, pretty much. I mean, they're so good. But yeah, that's all I got today. It's good to be back. I'm glad I'm back. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And if you would, leave a like on the video, uh, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to let you know whenever I upload another one. Other than that, that's all I got. Y'all have a incredible day. God bless. Bye.